Hi, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Tanya, looks like you beat me. That's awesome. Glad you're here this afternoon. Hope you had a good nap. This is kind of a nappy day, isn't it? Napping day. I had about a 30-minute one a while ago and made me feel much more refreshed. Didn't do a lot for my hair, but had a little nap. So today we are going to be working on the Nature Sweetness Suite again. I'll give everybody kind of a minute or so to get on, and hopefully when you jump on, you'll let me know who you are and where you're from. Would love for you to have comments, and please share with anybody you feel like might enjoy a crafting video, somebody whether they are doing Stampin' Up already or if they just might be interested in a new hobby. This is an awesome one. We paper crafters have a great community here in Lubbock called Create with Kelly Crew. And I'm Kelly Pitts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Lubbock for lots of years, about 17 years, since 2005. So I am thrilled to be with you today and hope you will enjoy learning how to make this card. This is using as I said, the Nature Sweetness that's on page 41 of the new mini catalog that just started. It's January through April. And if you need a catalog and don't have a demonstrator already, I'm happy to help you with that. Would love to. Today, we're going to be focusing on the designer series paper from this group that is called Nature Sweetness is the designer series paper. Also, you can see this is a beautiful suite and we have a long way to go on playing with this. So glad you're here. All right, we are going to get started. We're using a we're using a thick basic white cardstock, and it is 4 1/4 by 11. Let me go ahead and switch the cameras over, and not that way, this way. There we go. So we have the 4 1/4 by 11 cardstock, and it's scored at 5.5. And then we've got a piece of the Pebbled Path cardstock that is 4 inches by 4 inches square. And then we have several pieces of designer series paper that are from this Nature Sweetness set. And then this is die cut from one of those. We're also using on this one, we use the Deepest Sympathy. This is from the Fancy Frames. Let me show you what that is from. Something Fancy is what that's called. And I used the Sympathy one from there. There wasn't one in the Nature set, but I thought that went really pretty with that font. But today we're going to go ahead and use one that is from the Notes of Nature. We're going to switch this up a little bit and make it a little more festive. I'm going to show you how you can take the same basic cards and make them look a little bit different and work for different occasions, because this could be turned into a wedding or anniversary or birthday, whatever kind of card you want it to be. And I initially, with the Sympathy, I didn't know for sure if we should go with the gold bling, but this is a very subtle one. This is from the Brushed Metallic Adhesive Backed Dots. And these are the gold ones. And I thought they were really subtle, but they picked up the gold. I tried the white from our little, let's see what those are from. They're black, white, and gray set that have carried over a couple times. They are the classic matte dots. I did try the white ones, but I just really, they stood out more as bling than the gold did. So I really liked that. On the birthday ones, I'm going to let y'all help me decide if you want to do this card with the brighter gold. This is from another carryover called Blooming Pearls, number 162238. So we'll look at that when we get to it. And then we're also going to play with possibilities on the embossing folder. Instead of using the plain background, the plain cardstock, and I think I've already shown you the Notes of Nature set. We are going to be using that one. And we'll be using the other one that goes with this. It's called Lovely and Sweet. So we're using looks like I have a runaway adhesive, foam adhesive strip there. Okay, now let's see. We're going to use the vanilla flower on this card from this set. And then we're also using the dies that this is the first time I've used them. I've had them for months and just haven't found the right card. And when I saw this paper, I thought I want to try these dies with that paper. And this is called Patchwork Pieces dies, number 161592. And it comes with 2 different dies. We're going to be using this one, and I'll show you how that works. And we also use the Stylish Shapes dies, which are just a must in your craft room to have these. This is number 159183 if you're interested in those. But these shapes, you get a lot of greetings that will fit on these shapes. And then the fact that they die cut the little dotted edge on the inside and on the outside is a big plus. So those are a real staple for your craft room. The other 2 I'm going to show you when we get to it, or I can show you now. I'll show you a couple of options. If we'd use the new celebration set, this is a bundle that's in the celebration set that will be going on in January, February. You'll be able to order a designer series paper and this embossing folder called Softly Sophisticated. So that is one option that we're going to be playing with. I'll wait till we get ours done, but it would be similar to that with that background. Or I also thought this one would look pretty with the embossed 3D set, embossed 3D folder, not set, but it comes in a set. It has 3 different embossing folders in one, and it's an online exclusive. So that one is number 161598 if you're interested in it. So thank y'all for joining again. Oh, Tanya already has this suite and is going to make Valentine's cards before she gets after it. I haven't started those. I had to start in on this week because we're going to do my techniques class. If anybody is in the Lubbock area, I will be doing a little advanced techniques class on September. Whoa, jumping ahead or behind, I don't know which. On January 21st, and then on the 22nd, I'll be doing another class with this same suite. So it will be spotlighting the Nature's Sweetness suite. And this piece of paper can be kind of a little, it can vary in size a little bit. I think I did this one 3 3/8 by 3 1/2. And the 3 3/8, I believe, is 3 3/8 by 3 1/2. The 3 1/2 goes up the taller way. Okay. So what we do, and I don't have the pieces of paper here because I wasn't sure how many are coming to which class. So I didn't want to cut my paper wrong until I figure all that out, how many I could get out of all my cards for my upcoming classes. But what I did to conserve the designer series paper is that I made these sheets 3 1/2 by about, let's see, I had that written down and now I don't have it handy. Okay, what you do when we get to this part, and I'll go ahead and show you. See how this is like a puzzle piece and it kind of all fits together? So if you look at this and you turn it the right way, you can see what we're doing here. This is how they're going to come out. So you're going to have to cut 4 of these sheets of paper. And this, I would cut the designer series paper about 3 1/2 wide by 3 3/4-ish tall. Okay. Maybe a little bit bigger than the 3 3/4. You could go up to 4 if you wanted. Yeah, I probably did 4 by 3 1/2. And that gives you a little bitty border on each side of this after you cut that out. So you're going to you'll put your sheets together, and I'll go ahead and kind of explain what we're doing here. If you've never used this pattern die, I created it where I really wanted it to only take up 4 colors. I didn't want to use 5 of the DSPs because, like I said, we've got lots of other classes. And thank you, Nancy. I'm glad you like it. If you're in the Lubbock area, be sure and holler. I'd love to let you know when my classes are. And those are on my blog, createwithkelly.com, if you're interested. Glad you've joined today. How did you find me? Glad you're here. And Tanya is liking these dies. So that's I was meaning to get them for a long time and finally did. So glad y'all get to see them today and see what you think. So if you do the entire die, if you cut your paper this size, it's going to be like 4 3/4. You'd have to do at least 4 3/4, maybe 5 inches by the 3.5. And I didn't want to waste that because I knew I only had a limited amount of space here behind that circle. So I was trying to conserve, and that's where I came up with the 3.5 by about 4. And that way, whenever you get your circle done, you're going to cut the pebble path at 4 inches by 4 inches square, and then cut out your stylish shapes. Just kind of, these are not exactly, I didn't measure, but you can, if you want to, you can measure exactly and tape it up and everything so it comes out exact. But oh, Nancy, I'm glad. Where are you from? Would love to know that. I'm glad you are watching and got the live notification. Thanks for that. Everybody who is on my YouTube channel at Kelly at Create with Kelly Pitts, you can just not only subscribe, but hit the notification button, and then it pops up. And if you're handy and want to watch, you can. If not, you can watch the replay. I'm always happy to have people from Facebook or YouTube or watching the replay. To be able to inspire people makes me happy. I love that. So anyway, back to what we're doing. Sorry, I chase rabbits a lot. Sorry. Okay, the 4x4, you're going to cut the stylish shape out, and then see, you'll have a little bit of wiggle room, not a lot left and right, but up and down. Can you see how much difference that makes? You can almost cut that 4th color out, but not quite. So I decided to go ahead and do that. But you'll figure out like that, just playing with it, how much of that top one you want to show. See the one that's got the scripty writing with the gold versus this gold down here. So you just kind of decide where you want this on that circle once we get to that. But that's how that works. So you'll get 4 pieces of paper. You'll put them in some kind of order that are pleasing to you. And I always try to have one color of paper that has all the other colors in it. So this white one has the pebble path and it has the gold foil. So if I had something with a little bit of the pecan pie, maybe, or another color, then you could pick up those colors too. But I firmly believe that not all the designer series paper in each pack will coordinate with each piece of the designer series paper. So some have a coordinating color that's not in others. So I try to, if you're going to do something like this, you need to think about scale. You don't want it to all be exactly the same size. Like this script is quite a lot different from that. They're pretty similar in size, but they're so different to have the pebble path background versus the white that they work well together. And then this larger pebble path flower balances out the smaller scale of these. And then these leaves are, they don't have any space in between them like these do. See how these are spread out? These leaves are similar in size to those. They're a little bit larger. So they're kind of a different scale, not a huge amount different, but they are different. And then this has the metallic that is picked up in these two. So that's kind of how I chose. You could do any 4 colors that coordinate, but I would just make sure that they do coordinate in some way, that there's one piece that pulls all the colors, all of the everything together, and you have different styles, different scale, meaning little bitty flowers and big flowers. You don't want them all medium flowers. Does that make sense? So hope so. All right. So what we're going to do is get our little silicone mat, and we'll glue these to the basic white. I'm just going to set that aside for now. Let's see if I can get this how we want it. Okay, and this is taller. This is the 3.5 side. So what we'll do is kind of put this underneath here. Okay, we'll get all of our pieces aligned. We're going to attach it. I found it was easier to attach to a piece of cardstock first before slipping it onto the card base, if that makes sense. We're going to go ahead and get this done. And you can see that's a little wide, but it works however you want to do it. And another tip is if you're using foil paper, I always try to use the Stampin' Seal and not use liquid glue. Liquid glue can show. It makes your little, makes like little lines that can show on the foil. And you don't have to worry about every single little bitty tips like that not getting stuck totally down, because they won't show behind that circle. We're going to have a little bit of room. All right, let's see if I can do. Is that a little better? I need to scooch just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm lining this up at the bottom and on the right-hand side. Okay, next I'll go to our next piece. So I'm just kind of auditioning them, kind of putting them where I think I want them, because they will fit together like a puzzle. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more across there. Make sure that stays well. Okay, hope y'all are having a good afternoon. Boy, we're having wind here in Lubbock, Texas. We're getting that front that I guess tons of people are getting. We're not supposed to get the snow, I don't think, or precip that a lot of people are getting, but we are getting the wind and the cold. The temperatures dropped like, forgot what my husband said a minute ago. Excuse me, I've got to have a little sip of water. I think the temperature dropped about, ooh, almost made a big mess. Not judging distance well back there in my little stand. Dropped about 10, 15 degrees in about 30 minutes, something like that. It's going to be cold. I think we're going to have 10 degrees or 8 degrees or something crazy the next couple of nights. So hope y'all are in and safe and warm. We're supposed to go out to a play in a little while. We're going to go to our Buddy Holly Hall, which is an incredible venue if y'all haven't been there, and see a Broadway series production of On Your Feet. And I have not seen any reviews or anything on that. So hopefully it will be worth getting out in the really, really, really cold weather. We shall see. Okay, so we want to line that up. And it doesn't matter at the top. It's going to be a little ragged where you cut that out. It's not going to matter. That's not going to show. Okay, so there we have it. We probably could have gone with a little bit smaller white piece, but I just wanted to make sure I had enough that I could pick up and move around. You may want to trim that off. You definitely want to trim these off. And we want to go from the back to trim that. It's a lot easier. It doesn't have to be perfect because it is going to be covered up by our circle anyway. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. We'll see if I left that there for a reason and I've already forgotten why. We'll see if that makes sense later on. Okay, so we've got that ready. And we're going to, oh, and when you're lining your papers up and you're cutting them, make sure that you're cutting them so that this way is the 3.5. It does need to be a little taller that way, about 4 inches for it to cut right on that die. So 4 inches this way, about 3.5 that way. So make sure if you have something directional that you're paying attention to that when you cut your paper. Okay, let's get a little stamping done. This is not a difficult card at all. You just have to have the die. You can't do it without that. Okay, we are going to stamp a little bit of, well, a couple of things. Let's get those. We're doing everything in Pebble Path. This is kind of almost a monochromatic card. It's just with a little bit of gold metallic to really jazz it up, which it does. Okay, I'm going to make sure that's lined up a little bit better. Grab both of your corners and hold on for dear life. Get them straight on both sides. So even if you've already scored it, you can kind of adjust that just a little bit using your bone folder like that. And then I take it where if one side is a teeny bit longer than the other, then put that side on put the longer side on the front so you won't see the difference there. Okay, and I like to stamp with it flat rather than stamping on both of these layers, I guess, front and back. I just stamp right on the front, and I'm going to stamp this on the left. And we're going to use the one from the set that I showed you earlier, the Notes of Nature is the one this comes from. And I'm just going to line that up at the bottom. And I think this could make a great masculine card. It can be a feminine card. Like I said, it can be birthday. It can be just about anything you want it to be. And I'm going to use the little splatter stamp and just kind of I stamped onto the paper and off. And I'm going to do just a little bit on that corner too. That just could be confetti or whatever you want it to be. Celebratory look. Okay, let me get this ink off of this really quickly, and we'll go ahead and stamp the inside. Anybody have any questions so far? Oh my gosh, Nancy's from Florida. Oh my heavens. 59 and sunny. Well, how about that? Good for you. Enjoy. Because we're going to be, let me see what it is right now here in Lubbock. See if that'll show up on my watch. Severe weather. We're in a wind chill advisory. It says 56 here, so y'all aren't that much warmer. And Tanya's got a son at Disney World this week. How about that, Nancy? They might run into each other and not know it. Oh my goodness. And I see another one that just came in. Hi, Kathy Winters. Glad you've joined too this afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's see, Tanya. Could you put tape on the basic white base instead of the puzzle pieces? Yes, you surely could. I was just afraid I would stick them, you know, if you have a big surface that was all taped like that, if you had sticky tape everywhere, that it might be kind of hard to move this a little bit if you had to peel it up, but you could do it either way. Good point. Good point. Okay. Now, as you can see, I already knew kind of how we were doing that at the bottom, so we'll work on the spacing there at the top in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this lovely flower. And for birthday, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stamp it up a little bit taller or a little bit further onto the inside so it shows the little, this has the figure C that kind of looks like field notes or something nature, just a notebook where you're taking nature prints or you're looking up something botanical in a dictionary or whatever, where it's got exactly what it is. And it looks like vanilla planifolia. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but we're going to go ahead and move that where you can see the figure C on this one. I did not want that on the sympathy one. I didn't think that was appropriate. So I'm just going to show you, see how I did that down in the corner on that one. So it didn't show that field note thing. But I think for a birthday, especially if this is a masculine one, that's kind of neat. And we could, if we want to put a little bit of splatter with that too, we certainly could. And let's see if we want to stamp off a little. Maybe have that just like that, where it's kind of looks like it might be resting on something. We might even do a little bit over here. What the heck? Let's see. Even lighter. So there you go. That's one idea. You could do tons of different things on the inside, but I think that's enough for somebody who's not real foofy. think this is a good color combo for lots of occasions. And I think the little splatters work with so many things. I love it when we have these splatter stamps that just really give it some good texture. Okay, now we have this piece and we've got this piece. We can decide, y'all can let me know what you think. I'm just going to lay this back here for right now. And I'm going to attach this. I'll show you with a foam adhesive strip around the edge. But first, we're going to decide exactly where we want this. Okay, and do you like this Simply Sophisticated? Y'all can let me know. Simply Sophisticated 3D embossing folder, or do you like the other one that I just had out from the Basics on this one, because we want to do something a little bit different from the other card where we just had the plain cardstock. I wanted to show you a variety here. What do you think of that? Which one do you like, the Basics or the Sophisticated? You could put Simply or Basic. What do you think? And then I'll show you how to do that. I'll go ahead and, nope, I can't do that until I decide. Y'all let me know what you think. Which way is it going to be? Tanya, Nancy, anybody? Y'all let me know. Kathy? Let me see if I've got comment. It takes a minute. Let's see. Tanya says Simply. Okay. The Simply Sophisticated. All right. And Nancy does. So that's what we'll go with. All right. What we're going to do, can you see here how this has like a little shadowed effect? Because this is popped up over that. But since we're so tight on the edges here, so you can see I don't have a whole lot of room between that circle and the edge of this. So I didn't really want that to show, just in case it shifted a little bit. So we're going to take an adhesive strip. These are the foam adhesive strips that we sell in the annual catalog. And I'm putting this, I think I'm going to go this way. I think that's easier for me. And not right up on the edge, but pretty dang close. And I am making a circle all the way around this, just like you would if you were going to make this a shaker card, which would be really pretty to do. You could definitely put gold, silver, metallic in here, but I think it would kind of defeat the purpose a little bit of all that gold and the DSP behind it to do a shaker. With this particular pattern, I think you would hide too much of it on that. But if you didn't use this pattern paper, if you used a solid back there, that would be really pretty, I think, to try that. So we're just using a strip all the way around right here. Kind of using my little bitty pieces I've got left over. Where's that one that was trying to run away earlier? We're going to use that one too. Why not? And I'm shoving this together like I would think it's a shaker card. So it doesn't really have to meet totally all the way around, but I just think this is a good way to make sure if anything peeks out on the side, or if you're kind of looking at it and it's shifted, you don't really want to see that that's the edge of this. So this will take care of that. All right, let's put this on our adhesive, our silicone mat, so that if it does go off the edge, it won't stick to my work surface. Okay, so you can see what I was meaning earlier, when you can go up a little bit and have more of the gray showing, or come all the way down and have more of the gold showing. So that's kind of how you center it. I think, yes, Tanya is asking about the champagne iridescent dots. I think they would. I think they'd still be pretty with this. The gold or the champagne, yeah, would work. And there's also, I think there are some pebbled path ones. I just couldn't find any. I did not try to make the gray work. Okay, this is barely side to side, like I said. But that's what you get being frugal with your designer series paper. Okay, so now we're going to have a little bit of sticky still out here, which is fine. No big deal. We're just going to, we can go ahead and put, I think I had a bigger piece in here, or I didn't cut off the side. That's probably why I didn't cut off the side. Remember when I said there was probably a reason? So you might leave it the size I said, so you have a little bit more attaching to this, but it's not a big deal. And then just to make sure it's the same size, I would probably use a dimensional here, but it's going to be a different height from the foam adhesive strip. So I'm just going to, since I've got all this room over here, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that is anchored well. Since we've got a little bit of gap between the center part and there, I'm going to go ahead and stick it down. So if y'all don't have these foam adhesive strips in your arsenal, I would recommend it. Just like dimensionals and seal, crafters like a lot of different inks. I mean, different adhesives, and they all have different purposes. So I do highly recommend getting a variety, because you will need them for a variety of situations. Okay. See if I can get some of this mess out of the way where y'all aren't having to look at all that. Move that over. Okay, so now we've got our back ready. We're going to, let's just kind of lay it on here. I'm going to add glue to that white part. I want to make sure, I think I may want a little bit of the gray. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more of the splatter above this. I didn't want all that crazy on the sympathy card, but I think on the birthday card, this will be lovely. So we're just going to stamp that off once again and just kind of come down here. Or do we want to come here? I think we want to come here. See how that the splatter just kind of makes that little curve and comes down almost into that area where the font is. Isn't that pretty? Now let's see if we like that. Or yeah, that's plenty. And then we'll add some dimensionals also. Okay, I'm just going to glue this down. I've got seal. Liquid would work just fine. I'm just going to use Stampin' Seal to get that down. Move that out of the way. Can y'all see well enough? Hopefully. And we just kind of want a little, kind of an even border all the way around, I think. Maybe a little further down. I could have come up just a little bit with that, but that works. Then we're going to take our little flower that I have. It's a vanilla flower that I have die cut out of the paper. This is on one side of that DSP, and then the flowers, the vanilla and the cocoa or cacao and the almond and floral bush. They all are, thank you, Kathy. Glad you like it. Okay, and that I think can be flat. I don't think it needs to be popped up anymore since that is already popped up. So we're just going to kind of get that little bit of seal there. Probably liquid glue would be easier for that, or glue dots, but I happen to have that handy. So kind of decide the angle that you want and stick that on in that corner. Isn't that pretty? What do y'all think? You like it? Isn't that a fun way to use that pattern paper to really show off those different textures and still have a monochromatic or monotone scheme? All right, we're going to add some embellishments, and we're getting this done in record time. Okay, Well, it helps to have all that cut ahead of time. Certainly helps. Let's see. Oh, Tanya, I do love this suite too. It's really been so different to use this suite compared to the Merry and Bright that we used so much of over Christmas. I was really ready for something different on that. Okay, now we're looking for those brighter gold. I think since this is a birthday, we were talking about, this is the blooming pearls that are carried over. Let's try these. Let's close up my pebbled path here, because I want you to be able to see a difference in between this one and those brushed gold that we saw on the other card. Now I'm just barely going to lay it there so that hopefully I can move it. And I think this is, you could do a random, but it would not show up very much on that. You could do just some random dots down here if you're not an in the corner kind of gal. But what do you think of those? I don't think it needs one here. I feel like this is kind of fills in that. Yes, Nancy, the flower is cut out of the DSP. I don't know that I have the sheet in here. Let me see if I can get this close up enough to where you can tell which sheet that is. Just a second here. Excuse me. Okay, see if we can get this close enough to the camera. Can you see this one right here? It's a white background and it has all of the, it has the cacao and the vanilla and the almond all in there. And they all die cut. We have dies that cut those all out. I'll give you a sneak peek. This is another one we'll be doing on another video soon. But this is the gold foil. See, that's out of that same paper. That's on the, you can tell that's on the back. And that's on the front. So yeah, there you get, basically each sheet has 3 full flowers, 3 full of those floral branches of the almond tree, and 3 of the vanilla, at least 3. I think it has 4 or 5 of those. And then the cacao one also that are with the branch that are, let me show you those again. Here we go. All 3 of those images are on that paper, Nancy. So thank you, Larry. Glad you liked that. Glad you're watching. Thanks for tuning in. So that's where those come from. And do we need a couple of little ones down here or maybe one? What do y'all think on that? I've got a little runaway putty here. Oh, goodness. Nope, that's too light and little and wimpy down there, I think. I don't think we need 2 down there. Thank you, Nancy. And Larry, I think I showed Larry B. Let me know where you're from, Larry. Would love to know where you're tuning in from. Okay. Do we want a big one down there? Or a couple? Or is that kind of distracting? Let's see. If we put 2 of the small ones right around this. Do we like that? Do y'all like the small gold ones at the bottom too, or just stick with the 3 big ones? What do you think? What do you think? I'm glad y'all like this suite, and I will be having I'll be selling a PDF tutorial that's going to have probably a dozen different cards in it, because we're going to be doing some, like I said, if you're in the Lubbock area, we do have I'll have a techniques class coming up on January 21st. And then I have a spotlight on this suite class on the 22nd. So I know I already have 4 or 5 for both of those classes. So I'm going to be limited in space. Okay, Tanya, that's kind of what I thought. They kind of just don't do much for me down there. All right, we will take those off. And whoop, didn't quite get the glue dot with that one. Have to figure something else out there. I shouldn't have pressed those down, as I didn't think I did, but Sure enough, I did. If y'all have any questions or comments or anything, please let me know. I'm happy to help you. If you need to order some Stampin' Up! Products, you can go to my website at createwithkelly.com, and you just have to spell the Kelly right, the right way, Kelly, Kelley. And thank you, Julie. Glad you tuned in. Would love to know where you're from. We're kind of having a cold, windy day here in Lubbock and Texas. So I'm happy to help you. Like I said, I've been a demonstrator for 17 years, so I have lots of tips and techniques, and I love sharing my cards and hopefully inspiring you to play with this suite on your own. So let me know if you need any help. I'm always available. You can email me at kelly@createwithkelly.com or give me a call. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And hope you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel and sign up for notifications. And then my blog is createwithkelly.com. And I will be posting this later today. I have it almost ready. And it'll be linked to this video, but it has all the measurements in it for you. So you know how to do it once you order the suite from me. See how I did that? That was pretty sly, right? Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. Fun times ahead. Bye-bye. Have a great day.